Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte. I am your MC this morning, Horace, and I just want you to know we are so glad you have joined us today. And if this is your first time, we want you to know that we honor your presence in this divine, affirmative, and open hearted community. So, today's message is the Quantum Symphony, tuning your spiritual antenna. Let me say that again. Today's message, which is very important, is the Quantum Symphony, tuning your spiritual antenna. So, we're going to have an awesome service today. We're already having one. And I encourage you to stay tuned for our announcements later on, because there's always something going on and unfolding here at CSO Charlotte. And so we would like for you to learn more about our community. You can submit a prayer request and catch up on past messages and our services by going to our website, csocharlotte.org. You can just fill in a request there and find out on the website, as well as our social links and our YouTube channel, about all that's going on here at the Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte. So, before we settle in to our message, I want to leave you with this thought. Tune your antenna to the highest frequency possible to attract people of substance. Increase your circle of influence intentionally. Let me say that again. Tune your antenna to the highest frequency possible to attract people of substance. Increase your circle of influence intentionally. And that is anonymous author. And so with that, I'm going to turn the mic over to our wonderful, awesome spiritual leader, Reverend Rosedale Jones.
That's Horace. That's our operations coordinator. So wonderful. So with this is all such a beautiful day, guys. We are in the Carolinas, and this is CSL Charlotte. But in the Carolinas today, we are having a beautiful day where we get a chance to chill. And so with that, I'll say welcome to CSL Charlotte, the Mind Body Center. And our topic today is Quantum Symphony, tuning your spiritual antenna. What does that sound like? Wow. So listen closely so you can see about your psychic nature. First on our platform is my right-hand man, who is not here because he's in his own place, chilling in his cozy place in the Carolinas. So with that being said, usually I'd step aside and let him take the mic from here, but he's going to take it from his place. But so he's joining us from his own. So with that being said, listen to Alan's prayer, because he's setting the tone for the Quantum Symphony while tuning your spiritual antenna.
All right, everybody, close your eyes as we turn the radio dial, as we recognize that there are so many infinite possibilities and infinite radio stations and infinite signals. And we recognize that we are all individualized expressions of that signal. We are all individualized radio towers, listening to signals and broadcasting as well, because that's what radio does. And that's how we communicate. That's as we send out our broadcast, we attract like-minded people that receive our messages, that are our clients, that are our friends and our family and our community. And we also receive messages from spirit, because we are also radio antennas as well. So I am knowing that today that we are all inspired to expand, to move beyond just being an AM radio station, but to upgrade to FM and to XM and to all the possibilities, because spirit is all about expansion. So I know that today's talk inspires us to really embody ourselves as radio stations, and to recognize that as we upgrade our equipment, as we upgrade our mindset, that we send out more powerful signals out into the world, knowing that everything comes back even better than before, amplified, because we are all individualized amplifiers on this earth, here to have our own individualized experience as our own radio towers. So I know today's message is awesome and inspiring, and I'm grateful to be part of this radio community, knowing they were all in sync with each other right here and right now to receive and to broadcast later this week this wonderful message that Reverend Rosedale is about to give us. So I release this out into the wonderful cosmos, knowing that everything is being broadcast right here and right now. And so it is.
And so it is. Oh, that was fabulous. Yes, you were right about updating our equipment and the broadcast. The whole thing is all coming from the quantum symphony. Are you getting a hint, everybody? And Alan and I did not discuss any of that. So that's a beautiful thing. So next on our platform is our reader, Reverend Sonja Prince. Now, Reverend Sonja Prince talked to me the other day about her psychic energy, and she sees it as well. So I sure hope a lot of people out there in YouTube land and everywhere understand these metaphors and they get them. So listen carefully to Reverend Sonja's reading and open yourself to the quantum symphony, tuning your spiritual antenna. Okay, and after Reverend Sonja, wow, that's quick. Listen to the song Beautiful Noise by Alicia Keys. Reverend Sonja, make it do what it do.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Tuning Your Vibrational Antenna by Reverend Rosedale Jones. We are told by the world that we are small, that we are contained within the borders of our skin, and that we are separated by the silence of empty space. But laboratories and temples, which we know them as the scientific and the spiritual communities, are finally speaking the same language. They tell us that there is no such thing as empty space. It's the quantum field of the infinite. It is pulsing connection between us and everything around us. Within the garden of our own mind, there are antennae made of light, designed to catch the whispers of the great macrocosm. You are a microcosm of the divine. You are a mirror reflecting a light that has no beginning and no end. Right now, in this moment, we are tuning our spiritual antenna. We are turning the dial away from the static of the world and towards the clear signal of our oneness with spirit. I invite you to take a moment to quiet everything about you. Can you feel the hum of the field around you? When you feel a sudden pull towards a friend, when you know a truth before it is spoken, or when you feel the weight of a prayer, you are not imagining things. You are participating. You are stepping into your role as a necessary note in the quantum symphony. You are not a solitary drop of water. You are the entire ocean, feeling every ripple in the deep. You are the resonance. You are the witness. You are the bridge between the stars and the earth. And lastly, a quote from Reverend Rosedale. Spirit is the music, the body is the instrument, and you are mind, and the resonance that proves that they are one. Thank you.
Do you hear your voice yet? We'll start with a short centering and relax your eyes and start looking into your lap or closing them if you choose. And when you do that, just take a nice deep breath so you can take in the words of that awesome song from that beautiful duet. Beautiful sound. I love that song. It's a beautiful noise. Your voice, you have a choice because it reminds me that I have a voice. And you know what? Listening to the beauty of the quantum symphony in my ears, I get to hear the roar of my psychic energy of who I truly am. And then I can take my voice and let someone hear what I just got through my psychic nature. Are you starting to figure this out yet? And if it's true for me, it's true for you. See, I use my voice to translate whatever I hear from the quantum symphony, and I have a voice. It's not a whisper. You heard the voice, the song, and I use it. What about you? You know, the quantum symphony is exactly where your psychic insights come from. You're a part of it, and you get to hear from it. So today we are syncing with the quantum symphony, and we are tuning our spiritual antennas together. So deepen your practice this week and open your mind to the quantum symphony for tuning your spiritual antenna. Now, have you figured it out yet? How the quantum symphony tunes your antenna? Well, you're at choice to figure that out. And whether you choose to use simple things like spiritual practice to figure it out, it's all up to you. So wiggle your fingers and your toes and take a nice deep breath and integrate your mind, body, spirit, and look around your space. Start to bring yourself back into the present moment and be a part of this symphony with us. So, what made me think about the quantum symphony for tuning your antenna? You see, last week I mentioned I lead in a different way now. And right now I'm speaking in the language of metaphors more than I have done in forever. See, this is the thing about metaphors. Metaphors are really a bridge. And what they do is they allow spirit and you and me to hear what our logic, you know how we try to be logical with the brain? Well, the logic sometimes block out what's coming from the quantum symphony. So when you don't listen to what your psychic mind is telling you or your psychic nature is telling you, sometimes something happens. You go, oh, I should have made that right. Or I knew that was like I broke a bowl in my cabinet the other day. I was so disappointed, but I knew because I said, you're going to drop that big bowl on there one day and you're going to break that bowl. It's just, and what I should have done at that moment was recognize what I was saying and just been prepared when I go move it. That's all it was telling me. But you gotta listen because you see, there is this beautiful thread that connects us from everything that we do from day to day. So don't get it twisted that this is all it is. Blood, flesh, skin, bodies, that's not it. There's even an invisible thread right now connecting every spirit in this Zoom room right now. When one of us feels moved by our oneness with spirit or by spirit with itself, the thread vibrates through all of us. You ever been in a place where the vibes were bouncing on? That's the psychic nature of all of us from the quantum symphony. Now, the quantum symphony, of course, you know, is a word I'm making, but you know what I mean. It's the best way to do it. We feel each other's energy regardless of whether we're in the same place or not. We aren't just looking at screens when we hear in our meetings. We are participants in a silent conversation. And that silent conversation started billions of years ago when the stars came together to bring us here. It's the quantum symphony today. It could be the quantum field another day. It's still the same energy. But no matter what, it's the source of our psychic intuition, okay? Now, here's the thing. That quantum symphony is tuning your spirit antenna as we speak right now, as well as mine, of course, but I'm aware of it. I just want to make you aware of it because I'm bypassing right now the logic window, the window of logic. Guess what I'm doing? I'm stepping out with the quantum field, which is AKA your oneness with spirit. Now, here's the deal. The brain is not separate from consciousness. It's a regulated nervous system that creates a powerful consciousness. So we have to get it regulated, right? So the nervous system is the source of all of our physical reactions. So an unregulated nervous system comes from fear, but we can regulate it. So when the nervous system is regulated, fear loses its grip on you, on any of us. Then the mind can finally process fear better. Because it's always going to be there, but you can process it better. So when we train the brain, the noise of all things going on out there in the world, this is happening, we're having these peace walks, the president's doing this, the mayor is going to come do this, all these things. Once we train the brain to stay out of that noise, then we can connect with our own psychic energy or nature or intuition, but it's all our psychic piece. So spiritual practices is the tool or are the tools that we can use to train the brain and tune our antenna. Because when we just get a place where we can get calm, get to a place where we can just get calm, we open the door to the psychic nature of ourselves. We could just be taking a nap. That's the best time to get it. When you're relaxing and you're just like going, that is where you're supposed to go. See, alignment is both learnable and very much maintainable, but it's the practice that gets us there. So our oneness with spirit doesn't bypass biology. Here's the biology, the real physical body that you see. It doesn't bypass this, it works with it. Last year, I had a brain fog for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And I was taking on these appointments. I was going on certain times. And without even realizing, sometimes I left out of here going somewhere on the wrong day. But see, the thing was this. I know what I was doing, which I wasn't listening. I stopped for a couple of days of, deciding to make my schedule before I leave. I usually make a schedule every single day, but you better rest assured I didn't stop. I stopped. I keep doing it now. Anyway, I wasn't even creating my schedule, and I must have thought I didn't need it. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I was too fancy for sitting down and making the schedule before I leave, but a schedule is a must-have. So after a while, I said, okay, this is not right for you, Rosedale. You got to fix this. So instead of worrying, I asked questions out of wonder. Remember that? A couple of talks back, the wonder thing? Well, I got quiet and I started wondering how to respond to this, because this is not me. The quantum symphony responded. It said, do some research. And I was looking at studies and I saw something pop up in all of those things, because it's not a one and done where you can just go in there and put a question and it's going to come up and give you exactly what you need. No, sometimes it can take me a good hour figuring out, okay, ask this question then. Okay, it's like that. So anyway, as I looked at the studies, I saw something about the blood-brain barrier. I got intrigued. So I started seeing all the things that they gave to those participants in the studies. And then I started practicing with those supplements, with that food and those exercises that they gave the people in the study. And guess what happened? My psychic, this is what I do know, my psychic energy, intuition knew that stuff would improve my mercury, my memory, my mercury too. But anyway, I got the same results as the people in those studies. So now my wits and my sharp mind has been back forever, because once I learn something, I don't stop doing or eating or having it, because it's nothing but food and supplements and exercise. That's my medication. But you know, all of these shifts, you know, I go shift happens. All of these shifts I've had over the years have been constantly evolving and changing my entire mind, body, and spirit alignment better. Because I keep saying, and I've been saying it for years, and I didn't realize what I was saying. The better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets. And the other morning I got up and said it again. I said, that's why you're getting better, because that's all you keep saying. The better it gets, the better it gets. See, I listened to the Quantum Symphony, but you know, that's where insights live. Those little things I'm saying and I'm communicating. Yesterday I was talking as I was driving back and forth to get all my foods at different stores. Oh, they didn't have it, but I was there having conversations. I said, these people, if they're looking at you, which I doubt, my windows are pretty dark. If they're looking at you, they're going to think you're talking to yourself, but no, they're not, because they think you're on the phone. So I just align with my psychic energy anytime I can get when I'm alone. You have to alignment. Remember, I told you just now, alignment is so maintainable, but it's just, you got to do it. The Quantum Symphony is tuned. It's tuned in, turned on, and tapped on. And it's always listening to us. We can think and pretend we don't believe it, but honey, mine is. And yours is too, if you want to listen to it. See, being psychic is not a feeling that I have to chase, because that energy is my own nature. And that energy, it's not something that comes and goes. It's there 24/7 if we're paying attention. I'm trusting my psychic energy for everything now, because I understand how it works. Please understand how this stuff works. See, just as nature can grow a seed in the forest out there, so can psychic be your nature. Just like the sun shines, it's the nature of the sun to shine. Do that. Remember that. It's a biological and spiritual fact of our existence. You don't have to try to become psychic. So respect your psychic nature. So when you align with your psychic nature, sometimes you're not guessing. Someone just said to me the other day, that baby is going to fall down. You are knowing when you are in your psychic nature. You're not guessing. So listen to the Quantum Symphony to start tuning your antenna. The other day I said, oh man, I need to have something different to eat now, because next thing I know, that food I ate changed the whole system of my heels. I was tired. I soaked them and I sat down, just did that. And I felt like $1 billion later after that one little meal. Things like that. That's what you know. Do it. It says to do it, do it. Sometimes we even think that we are so far from each other because we're not in the next room or in the next space, but that doesn't really matter. Because here, I'm going to tell you a little bit about local and non-local. It may be heavy, but it's not that heavy. In a local world, we are divided. This meaning that this world right here, we're divided by mountains and miles between us and all that, but it's still the local world, right? So I'm in South Carolina, Groovy's in New Mexico, but we're still there. Here's the deal. Science has proven that to us countless times, that this is local. So in this local world, I can also walk across the room and touch someone. I could fly out to Phoenix and touch someone, right? That's the local world. Science has proven this also. that whatever us as human spiritual beings have is known as this non-local universe. So worlds are inside the universe. And so what we have is a non-local universe that everybody in this entire planet lives on. It doesn't matter where you are, how far you are, when we open up, we can always feel our psychic nature if you're willing to do that. So in the quantum field, we are already touching each other. That's what non-locality means. Local, we can see each other, we're right here. Non-locality is the idea that 2 points of the universe are connected by energy, and distance does not matter. So what do you think about the quantum symphony? Right here with us all the time, and we're talking back and forth, having these communications. Can't you really believe that that's happening? What I also like is the fact that we're on Zoom, and inside this, we don't really need a physical building, because when we meet in the consciousness meeting, what we do is we create a consciousness container. And no matter what, whether a person thinks that they're creating some health for somebody, what, you got your spirit here, we're utilizing it. Oh my God, it's so powerful to hear that. Because when people call me back and say, oh, that was great, I feel better. Why would they, if they didn't believe it, they wouldn't tell me to pray for them or put them in the circle. See, we create a synergy where physical space in this community is not essential for us. Our logic is a narrow window. Logic is narrow, but our oneness with spirit is the open field outside that house. Our brain is an actual filter. And what it does is it tries to keep us focused on what's going on out there. But we don't have to just let the brain do whatever it wants. So we need to train the brain and teach it to see, to hear, to taste, and feel spirit. Then our own psychic nature will begin to really come more broader. But it's not going to become broader if you don't believe it. See, now, if we speak too much logic and you go, how could that be? Okay, stop. You right then and there, you just shut down all of your psychic nature. We filter out the quantum symphony. We get all logical. Oh, you know what? That can't be. I do when I'm watching TV. Okay, I must admit, I'm like, there's no way. But what I found out was speaking in metaphors allows us to bypass our logic and literally hear the beautiful quantum symphony. And then we could use that beautiful noise, our voice, to tell someone what they need to hear, maybe. See, people call it psychic premonition, but I think of it this way. Sometimes I hear the insight before I get out of bed in the morning to go work with my clients or teach my classes. See, I trust that the quantum symphony is sending me everything I need when I get up. I don't have to sit there and map out, how are y'all going to do this whole function, depending on which class I'm doing. I don't need to do that, because right soon as I get there, I turn on my music. I am not the Rosedale that's sitting in this living room. I am using all of my psychic nature and my psychic intuition. And people literally come up to me and say, how did you know that I had a back pain this morning? And how did you know that my back legs was bothering me? All I'm doing is reading the room. Mind, body, spirit. And I trust this quantum symphony so much. Because the universe is constantly leaving me breadcrumbs of light, I call it. Yeah, breadcrumbs. I like to see that, because then I learned one day to start looking down on the ground, looking for the breadcrumbs. You know, like Kansas City, Dorothy. Was it Dorothy? I don't know. I forgot which one. But anyway, with the breadcrumbs. No. It was the witch, that's something like that. But if your brain, let me just ask you this or say this. If your brain is a computer hardware, let's just say, metaphorically, then that would mean that your nervous system is the electrical current of spirit. Okay, here's what I mean. The electric current of spirit, we got all these little wires. If you look at an x-ray, we've got all these little wires that are nerves. That's electrical current, baby. You can't tell me no different. That electrical current of spirit is the antenna that tunes into what the brain can't even explain. It's not about the brain, it is the mind, and the mind takes over the entire body. The brain could use all the logic in the world, but it'll never understand psychic messages until it is trained. Train your brain. Now, to train the brain and tune your spiritual antenna, you need spiritual practices. So use things like guided meditation, mindful energy, contemplation, affirmative prayer, and tune your antenna. But check this out. Here's the deal. If you really want to write some slashing, down-to-earth affirmative prayers that you can believe in, start learning how to write affirmations often, because that's going to make affirmative prayers slam dunk. And that's why I'm so good at it, because I started doing affirmative affirmations many, many years ago, because that's what I learned, that I didn't even know anything about this movement. Then when I said, oh, really? That's how you do it? You know, recognition, unification, declaration, thanking, and let it go. When I said that, I said, oh, I can do that third one, because that's all affirmations. I know this. Where do I know that from? Because when we practice to just stop thinking and start truly hearing the quantum symphony, that's when we're in our psychic realm. So when we say that prayer, after getting all those affirmations done, we are in. We aren't just observing the universe. We are vibrating with it. And when we already know everything, why not we just trust ourselves and allow ourselves to say, oh yeah, I knew that. So this week, I have a call to action. I challenge you to practice listening to your psychic messages this week. Every morning before you turn your phone on, or you turn to get up, or you move, don't get up, sit 5 minutes. Close your eyes and imagine an invisible thread connecting you to all the places and people you got to see that day. You know what you have to do. And then what I do is I get up and do my what, when, where. I had called myself stopping one time. I'll never do that again, because it'll blow the whole day if you don't have it all written down, know what you're doing, where you're going. But here's the deal. Don't look for logic. Look for a feeling, a spark, a gentle nudge. And that's how I get up. I get up once I get nudged, because I say, oh, I know what I want to do. That's me in my communication with the quantum symphony, tuning my spiritual antenna. I'm so well aware of that. I love this thing. Here's what you got to do. You really have to expect the universe to leave you breadcrumbs of light on the day you do that. Just expect it to be. And guess what? You just got to pay attention. Just simply pay attention to everything today. And when you feel or hear that sudden knowing, don't dismiss it. Honor it as your electronics, as Alan said, your equipment. Honor it as your nervous system catching a whisper from the quantum symphony. We're tuning in on our equipment today, Alan. You were so right in the prayer to say that. Because here's another call to action. I'm reaching out to our friends that are joining us across the digital field, if you will. And this is the YouTube watchers. If you're on YouTube, we are so glad that you tapped into our consciousness container today. Even if you're watching this days or years after this was recorded, remember that spirit is, remember I mentioned, non-local. So we don't have to be in the same place. We don't have to be in the same time zone, nor the same day. Not even the same year. But this goes up, it never goes down. So if you happen to be listening to us, you got it on this Sunday, January 25th, sunny day, snowy day. So please go ahead and like this video, share it, or leave a comment about the time you heard your psychic message. Well, why don't you leave a comment here this morning when you heard your latest psychic message about something around you in your life? See, by joining that conversation, what you're doing is you are adding your own vibration to this beautiful cosmic symphony. So that's what this next song is going to show you about that flashlight thing and the breadcrumbs. Because listen and hear how the lyrics in this song works. First of all, the words, I'm stuck in the dark, but you're my flashlight, is talking about your mind, body, spirit connection. So as you listen, don't just hear the words about a story of someone else. Think of your own relationship with your mind, body, and spirit, and let this be the meditation on your own inner flashlight as it is dropping little breadcrumbs of light for you. Listen to the song, Flashlight by Jessie J. You're my flashlight. You're my flashlight. That's the oneness with spirit. What a powerful connection to the oneness with spirit that song is, because it creates the dark and the light with the oneness of spirit. It matches today's journey so perfectly that it's all about us following those breadcrumbs of light. That's what I mean. What a beautiful metaphor for the flashlight of your life as you walk through the world this week. So as you walk through the world, look for little crumbs, but pay attention. Hold on to that light though. To keep your antenna tuned, you need to remember that you are a vital part. You heard that in the reading. You are a vital part of the symphony. Thank you, Timmy P. Horace, for that powerful bring up, and also for the shift in consciousness that we're having today. Thank you so much, Alan, with the prayer. Then Horace, boom, with the second prayer. Now Timmy P with making sure we didn't miss the point in the whole talk. So when you give today, just understand what you're doing. You're actually making an investment in consciousness. You aren't just making a donation, you're investing in a consciousness that has the power to change the world. You aren't fueling what awakens people. You are fueling what awakens people to their psychic nature and also returning them to the who and what they really are. And I'm not just speaking from a book in this when I say this, because I've seen some powerful transformations in my life. In fact, the better it gets, the better it gets. I have tons of healings to talk about, but my investments in this community is the power and the signal that keeps the spiritual antenna clear within me and every person who finds us in this community. So when you drop your guards and let your resources circulate, you step into the rhythm of the quantum symphony, and you already are a member of it. So as you align your giving, you begin to flow, you change, you heal, and you prosper right along with this community. So as you give, ask yourself one more question. Are you ready to stop just listening to the music and start being the power that fuels the symphony? With that said, guys, remember that. Good. So remember, before we close out and before we move into the next phase of the day. This is one segment of our day. We got another one coming. So before we move into this final song, also, I want you to feel your psychic nature here. You're not just leaving a celebration service, you're taking the entire quantum symphony home with wherever you go today, into the world with you. But before we close, recognize this. Your oneness with spirit means that your antenna is always live, and you and your psychic connection is always absolute. So read the energy of the rooms you're in, read the energy of the people you love, and follow the breadcrumbs of light, and let your voice be the beautiful noise that the world needs to hear. You are the resonance of the divine in motion. With that being said, go ahead and create a lovely day, because I want you to listen to this song, Lovely Day. Oh man, all I can tell you is when you live from a place of a lovely day, every day has whispers from the quantum symphony. This is a lovely day, everybody. Make sure you enjoy it. Okay, Reverend Soldier, are you ready to pray us out on this lovely day?
I am certainly ready. That song really, I don't know if you noticed when you were watching how he came on a little timid, but by the end of the song, he was revved up. You could see the joy in his face, because I believe he believed what he was saying, a lovely day, and the ways that he gave us to know that he would have a lovely day, because when I look at you, that kind of thing. So I'm so inspired by today's talk. Last week, Reverend Rosedale allowed us to listen to her one-on-one conversation. And this week, she invited us to tune into that vibrational antenna. She did, she made a statement that it's that frequency has been out there from the beginning of time. And so I don't know about you, but how many of us grew up when you first got up in the morning, the first thing you did was turn on the radio so you could listen to music. But sometimes it was out of focus, it had that static, and we had to tune it. But she talked about that's kind of the station of our mind, that there's non-locality. She talked about all kinds of scientific stuff that really gets her jazzed up. But what we can do, she reminds us, is tune our antennas. A symphony, I think about music and I think about my granddaughter's learning drums, and she's learning the guitar, and then her sister is playing the clarinet. And I'm reminded that, when you're in the symphony, when you're listening to the symphony, everybody's tuning when they first, before they first play their first song, everybody's tuning. And the clarinet has to tune, the tuba has to tune, all these instruments have to tune. And so I'm reminded, and she reminded us that it's likened to our own frequency. In order for us to hear that beautiful vibration, that beautiful vibrational symphony out there, we have to tune in, turn in, and then turn on to that. And the way we do that, she reminded us, is with spiritual practice. Spiritual practice is the tuning of that antenna. And she talked about it with great joy. One of the things that makes me so happy to be here this morning with you all is because of the joy she feels. She laughs through her talks because she feels joy of learning this stuff and continuously tuning her psychic vibrational, her psychic antenna. And she invites us to do so, the same thing. So we can work with that. We use our intuition, and that is our psychic ability. We tune into the vibrational symphony of spirit. What a wonderful thing. And so I just invite you right now to join me in consciousness by closing your eyes if it's safe and if you feel like doing so, or if you don't, just maybe lower your eyes as we turn into this sacred moment of the divine. We have heard and hopefully we have embodied some of these beautiful concepts that Reverend Rosedale spoke of. How we can tune into that beautiful vibrational symphony of spirit. That spirit leaves us breadcrumbs to follow. Like when you watch a movie and someone's lost, but they're dropping little things, these breadcrumbs, and you follow the breadcrumbs. So she invited us to follow the breadcrumbs of spirit and tune our vibrational energies to the frequency of the divine. And so how grateful I am for being here to listen to, bearing witness to this. And knowing that if I need to hear it again, I can go back and hear it again. That's what the vibration of technology has allowed us to do. And so, as you go about the rest of your day, remember just to tune in to that beautiful symphony of the divine, that vibrational frequency, tune in that intuition that comes from within your very being. That you are one with the divine, and the divine is always speaking to you in that still small voice. But we have to listen. We have to stop the noise of the world, what the television tells us, what our neighbors are talking about. We have to just let it all go and refocus and retune into what Spirit has to offer to us, like manna from heaven that they talk about. It's that vibration of Spirit always speaking through you, to you. But we have to listen. So I'm so grateful for this day. I'm so grateful for this service. I'm so grateful for the wisdom of Reverend Rosedale. And I'm so grateful for all of you listening now and those of you who will listen in the future. And I just let go and I let God just be God in all of my affairs. Because I'm one with the divine. No harm has ever come to this spirit, and neither yours. So we need to start listening and tuning in and turning on to our vibrational frequency of the divine so we can be a part of this beautiful quantum symphony. And so it is.
Wow. Thank you, Reverend Sonja. Ooh, that's something for me to rest on today and chew on. That was powerful. So, as we are wrapping up our time today, keep listening today. Some of us are snowed in and some of us just want to stay home all day. But even so, let's continue to listen to that quantum symphony and keep tuning our spiritual antennas, because you've tuned into it already. You started. You've heard the psychic message of your own presence today for what you're doing later. I don't know if you really noticed that, but you did. But every person you encounter today and every situation you face is an opportunity to use your voice and see this day, whether you don't want to be home locked in or not, but see it as a lovely day. Because when you look at things, things change. Remember, the universe is always supporting you on your journey. So until we meet again, keep practicing and make sure to listen to the quantum symphony that you are a part of and keep tuning that antenna. And so it is.